Hello, welcome to the Cafe Nightly Show. I'm your host, the Goldsmith. It is the 3rd of January, 2025, and we are picking back up coming up from vacation, and it's about time to get things back to normal. Obviously, coming off the holidays, a couple things have happened during the last week. Not a lot, so we'll go over a couple of those. A hello and a goodbye to Discord. I'll get into that a little bit. Why those are, Upland changing focus a little bit on Discord, cleaning things up as they do so, and a little bit of a mixed bag there as Upland does try to clean up Discord and streamline things. Park City Collections in Upland did drop this week. Did drop yesterday, Thursday. Get a couple takeaways from this because we are seeing something a little different when we look at these small cities and a speculative market and how they get flipped and what the floor looks like. And it is an interesting thing to see as opposed to previous cities where we've had a larger landscape, larger number of properties that aren't in collection. And it is just interesting to even start seeing the commodification of information as well as people, kind of coalescing on looking at all the same areas. And for the most part, people being correct about what hits collection and what doesn't ahead of time. So we'll look back at that collection and the collection reveal and what Park City, Utah looks like. And what some of the flipped landscape looks like, because I do have a little personal story there as well. And how the USD market seems to be doing all right when it comes to collection speculation. And then obviously we're looking forward to the new year. We're going to get into some things. I do have some topics I want to get into next week, potentially looking at the past year and the year forward. Had a little bit of review, but do want to really look at some real takeaways as well as some things to look forward to. And once we start getting announcements about the upcoming first quarter 2024, looking at first quarter 2025, looking at that in a lot of detail. But for tonight, let's get things off with a disclaimer up front. All views and opinions expressed by myself, they're mine and mine alone. Should not be taken as game strategy or financial advice. They represent the game of the team of Upland. Any guest contributors we do have on have their own opinions. They're welcome to them. Should not be taken as game strategy advice. Should not be taken as financial advice. They represent the game of Upland or the team of Upland. Easy enough. So we can take a look at a couple announcements that have happened over the last week. Nothing too crazy. A lot of them pertain specifically to the release of Park City, Utah. The city itself, obviously, releasing and minting on the 24th, which was the last day that we really had shows, or at the time we were kind of all headed to a week plus vacation here, a break between the holidays, and then obviously reveal happening yesterday. So let's take a look at a couple in a quick fashion, and then a reminder on some other bits and pieces of what some previous releases look like, and some realities that are going on right now as it comes to mintable properties, and what I've seen as far as new people coming to the game and the way they're perceiving new properties or asking questions about newly available mintable properties. So Park City, Utah, we did have it released last week. We did talk about in a little bit of detail the release of the city, some collection speculations, got into a little bit of that with some of the holiday shows and getting ready for the release. But then obviously with the release happening on the 24th, hasn't been something we've really dipped into and taken a close look at. So definitely worth taking a quick peek. Again, we did have the collection reveal. Collection reveal happening yesterday. Collection reveal, obviously, being the 6 collections that we didn't know we were going to get. Most obvious, obviously, Park City. So Park City is a Park City collection having 3 properties in the city. Old Town collection for the neighborhood collection, something that was a highly speculated an exclusive neighborhood collection. We have Park Meadows, which is a limited neighborhood collection. Main Street, which is a rare street collection. We have Park Ave, which is an exclusive street collection. And Prospector Ave is an ultra rare street collection. This is something that was speculated on. It ended up being something where we had a lot of players who were buying and selling and trading those properties before the release, with a high speculation that it was going to be a rare. And then some people thinking ultra, but a rare. And again, it hits ultra rare. It has a rarefied status because of it. Again, with a small city with 5,000 available properties, the idea of what constitutes an ultra rare, what constitutes a rare, what constitutes an exclusive can be skewed a little different, can look a little different from what you're going to see when we talk about a larger city, the number of properties to be expected there. We're going to take a look at those in game of Upland as well, and the way those do line up here. What we do see when we do take a closer look, stop sharing it back into it. What we do see when we take a closer look at that is this is concentrated in some smaller areas. These are neighborhoods that were smaller to begin with. That was the speculation, as they were special neighborhoods. They weren't the largest neighborhoods in the city that were going to ultimately hit these exclusive collections. The streets, obviously, there's some of the smaller streets in the city that are going to hit the ultra rare, which is exactly what we saw with Prospector Ave. And they have to have character. They have to typify the city a little bit when we do see these come into play. So when we do get into the game, we do see that I'm going to back up. We do see that our collections did go live today. It's something that we had announced yesterday. There was a little bit of a delay in timing as far as them popping into the game. And as they came in today, we do see now Park City is on the collections map at the bottom of the collection. So we pop into collections, pop up here. We do see that just added today, Park City, Utah. And we can take a look with our collections here, Park City, Utah. We did have, again, Old Town being a exclusive, the Park Ave being exclusive as well, 2.1 times multiplier, 1.89 times multiplier for Old Town. Park Meadows, again, neighborhood as a limited, 1.58 times multiplier. And then we did have the Park City, going to go all the way back, Park City at a 1.25 multiplier. Any random 3 properties in Park City could qualify there. Main Street, 2.39 times multiplier as a rare collection. And then Prospector Ave, like I said, ultra rare collection, 2.69 times multiplier. These one-times bonuses for the people who are new to collections or may have gotten in. This is your first city, second city, third city. The one-time bonuses for ultra rare, rare, exclusive, and are limited. They do have to be held for a requisite period of time. The higher the collection level, the longer they have to be held in order to get their one-time bonuses. So we do see we're inside of a holding period for 14 days for our exclusives. If you did set an exclusive up right now, you're going to wait 2 weeks. And again, you can see the countdown timer, 13 days, 12 hours left before that 3,600 UPICs are available to me as holding the Old Town collection. Again, part of the takeaway for the way the city released is there are a couple different speculation groups. One of them being Banana Guides. I know there's a couple other groups. Analytic Assassin still puts together information. There's a couple other groups that put together information as well. And for the most part, they were very accurate. Some of them had some other neighborhoods and some other streets as potentials that didn't hit, but we did see Old Town, Park Ave, Park Meadows definitely was on some people's list. Main Street high on everyone's list, and Prospector Ave very high on everyone's list who was putting together information as potentials of hitting collection. That's what we saw here. And what that looks like when we have a vanilla release, especially a very small city, is the high speculation areas are selling at multipliers of what their mint price is when we're running up into that speculation week, the week between the city release and the first reveal of collections. In this case, that looks like people who were looking at Park Ave, trying to buy their third Park Ave, potentially being willing to spend 2 to 3 or even more times the mint price in UPICs, sometimes even more than that, because they're just trying to get one more small property to make the collection. Personal story, I did have a couple Park Aves. I was able to sell them for a significant amount more than mint price in USD, which is rare in the game of Upland. You parlay that same money over into buying some more Old Towns, so I could speculate that I was going to have Old Town as a collection, and then have quite a bit of USD sitting in that Tilia account. And that is one of the strategies now when we're talking about if I got a property that somebody else wants, if I could sell it into USD during that collection speculation week, then I have the USD for the things that I'm going to need, which includes the USD exclusive sales that we continue to have in the game of Upland, including the cosmetic passes, as well as many of these other sales in the game that are exclusively on the USD side. And we do want to take a look, since we were talking about the USD side of sales, at a sale that we did miss because it happened during the holiday season, and worth putting some notes here on when we're seeing these sales on the holidays. These are things that Upland has kind of emphasized, having these sales around the holiday season or around specific holidays. What we've seen with that is, in many cases, we've seen those transition from UPX into USD. Now with these being USD sales, again, it's a relatively exclusive market, and we did want to touch base on something I pointed out right before its release, and we had the holiday shopping that was released on the 23rd. Couple notes on that. First and foremost, I already kind of mentioned it. The USD purchased Block Explorer with UPX. That's nothing new. The pricing on that is what it is. We've seen them kind of creep up to this 30,000 UPX for $30 with the Block Explorer being a common setting that we've had for the last few sales. But then we had something that was a little different. We had a cart sale that was in USD set at a price point of $45. There was 40 of these originally available, and at 400 of these originally available, $45 each, with 4 different carts. That's 100 mint each. This was a relatively significant departure from previous pricing. We've seen these cart sales happen in the past, and in the past they have sometimes been in UPX and sometimes been collect, burn, and earn, and sometimes we've seen them even in USD. This is the highest I've seen for a direct car-only sale in USD at $45, and we can take a look and see what that effect looks like. The effect, if we take a look at specials over here, we go down to our holiday cart. If it's still for sale, we'll see that we had a metric crap ton of them still available, and apparently they had ended that sale because it looks like they pulled those carts from sale. And well, last time I checked, there was 350 of those carts left. I mean, 50 of them sold, 350 of them didn't, just sitting on the market. Again, waiting for a buyer that probably wasn't coming at that point. So we are going to continue to look at where is the price point set, where can Uplands better set these price points. The reality is the UGC community continues to put out assets like carts, and they're going to continue to put assets like map assets as being a large part of what the overall economy is driven on. And if there's a specific market and there's a specific price point that's set by the market, it's hard for Upland to price 3 or 4 times that given market and be competitive. And that's why we see some of these be lower sales, and we'll continue to see that be the trend. And hopefully the takeaway is we can see either lower prices or we can see the market shift up, one or the other, if Upland is going to continue to put these sales out in USD and have them be relevant to the community as a whole. Do want to put in one quick thing here. And again, this is the big point of the done at the very beginning of the year, kind of transitioning from last year into this year. Discord update, preparing for 2025. As we update and gear up for 2025, we are reviewing and streamlining the Upland Discord server to create a more engaging and efficient space for our community. Discord is a crucial part of our growth plan for 2025. These changes aim to ensure it remains a vibrant and effective channel for the community. Over the next few days, you will notice the following changes. Inactive channels are going to be removed, aren't going to be left in display. Duplicate channels that are kind of appear in multiple places, they will be removed. BSTS section, new and streamlined into specific categories. Language channels, all language-specific channels other than English gone. This is an English-only server. Decision, by Upland, and I'll get back to it. Swing back to that subject, that topic. Worth kind of swinging back to, because of that announcement and a little bit of discourse, just conversation in Discord in Upland about this. Upland had to come back and wanted to come back and clarify. After reflecting on today's discussion surrounding the removal of the language channels, see the live updates, I realized we didn't do a great job explaining the reasoning behind this decision, and that's on me. I'd like to take a moment to offer some clarity and insight into the reasoning behind our decision. This is from X1 the Gamer. The decision to remove these channels was primarily based on low activity. Most language channels were averaging less than one message per week. Even the most active, the German channel, was averaging fewer than 25 messages weekly, with many of those participants also being active in the English channels. After careful analysis, we concluded that it would be better to let organic communities manage language-specific conversations. This approach is to keep Upland's Discord focused and less fragmented, maximizing our community team resources and enabling a better ability to engage with both new and existing players. Maintaining a focused and streamlined experience here is the top priority as we scale up moving forward. So I do want to put a couple notes out or a couple things to look at when we talk about this language change. The reality is Discord was something that Upland had heavily emphasized for a long time. Then they had moved into some in-game communication channels. As they started emphasizing the in-game communication channels, there was this conversation around de-emphasizing Discord and the role of Discord versus the role of in-game chat. The idea that they wanted to push announcements specifically in Upland and Upland's Layer 1 chat. And I think there's been a couple of takeaways. Is Upland takes an initiative, they have a plan, they try to go and see what they can effectively do with that plan. And then there's a question of how effective the application is or how effective the results are. And with Discord, there was a strong community. There was a number of players who were very active, or a lot of people were very active in the cafe channel as well as in the general channel. Heavy amounts of conversations, dialogue going on in those places. And again, Upland wanted to emphasize a couple things with moderation. They wanted to try to push things where everything was more Upland centric, as well as not so disparaging. What happened is you have some fractured groups and people moving out of the Upland official Discord. But we've seen the evolution come back and forth on Discord, and now Upland's talking about emphasizing it. I think part of the reason why we could see the Upland's emphasizing it is because they're trying to grow player growth. They're trying to move in a different direction than they had been previously. That's when we see the TGE, we see the new crypto acquisition Upland, looking at bringing people in from outside of Upland who are crypto natives, who are NFT gaming natives. Even though Upland has tried to build around this idea that you don't have to be wallet focused, you don't have to have a significant amount of experience with NFTs in the past to get into Onboard and to get into Upland. But with this focus of trying to bring new players on, it's the what is visible, what is easy to get people in for communication, to ask questions, to build and engage. And really, Discord is easier for somebody who's coming from a different environment, who has different experience, than to say, okay, jump into Layer 1, use the in-game communication channels. The in-game communication channels, to be honest, have so far been a lot of people in general saying, hi, I'm new, hi, as opposed to there being a large discourse about events that are happening. Like we see the general conversation, a general discussion in the Discord and the Upland Discord that we've have growing or had happen for the last 4 years. So that's what we likely see Upland's reasoning being, is what is a place which is more easily available or able to onboard people, to meet new players where they're at as they come into the game, to not require them to learn a new communication system, not wait as long to be part of the conversation, someplace that's more active. And that's what we really see in Discord. Discord has maintained a certain core of people who are highly active, and as people come into the game, it's more easily on board there. Why would they streamline the languages? Upland's reasoning of them being low activity, I do get the idea of trying to maintain as few channels as possible, and to maximize that, you want to emphasize the channels that are having the most activity. But I would argue that there are some limited activity channels as well. The language channels were at one time promoted by the game of Upland. Upland was going as far as trying to have native speakers translate announcements that were going out around the world, translate and moderate into the language channels in Discord, translate and moderate into language channels in other platforms as well. But the reality is things like moderation or maintaining records of what is being said where, and seeing that they're not having your own game disparaged on your own platform, or people aren't scamming people in some weird channel, so that you actually have that moderation control and protection of the players in that space. That's been something that Upland's been dealing with for the last several years. And as a rationale, that would probably be a more honest one, is to say we have a hard time moderating and managing foreign languages as long as we don't have moderators who speak all those languages. It's easier to moderate smaller spaces and in English because we have more tools available to us to moderate language and content in English. I think that may very well be the reality. Encouraging people to go to third party or more specifically centered channels that are going to handle language, or other Discord groups. Then we have a number of Discord groups in Upland that have built. A couple of them have built communities around languages. Specifically, there are Discord groups outside of Upland that are Upland centric, that are language specific. I know there was one for French. I think there still is. There was a lot of French spoken in those language a lot of French as the primary language in some of those channels, and we do see some of those groups still existing and continue to grow. I don't know the number of people who are going to be able to, as they come into the game new, to say, I speak blank. I speak German, not English. Is there a place to go where people are going to have to refer them to another group? I don't know if that's going to be as helpful, as people getting direct information. The good news is there's a lot of translation that does exist now. People using things like AI translation to help translate language on page. And I think that using some of those tools, people are still going to have access to the English side of things. I don't know if we're going to continue to see people be upset for a longer period of time, but that was the initial response, because some of these language channels, people felt it gave them the opportunity to have their identity, to express themselves within their own community, as opposed to having to go out into a broader community. And again, it kind of gave people that feeling of, yes, I'm somebody who's not part of the main Upland English speakers, but I still am recognized or feel heard. We'll have to see how this works overall. But the part of the takeaway for me is Upland has seen that Discord is where things are going to onboard, and where it's easier to engage with people, and where that engagement's more effective. And I look forward to Upland kind of putting more of that focus back into Discord. There was a time not that long ago, last year to be specific, in the earlier part of the year, where Upland was even mentioning things like, we're going to de-emphasize announcements in Discord. The majority of our announcements are going to happen in game. We want people to use the in-game communication. That is, we can take a quick look, lower left-hand corner of the screen, the in-game communication to be their primary news gathering, where you can go and see the announcements, where you can go and be a part of the community and part of these channels that are ongoing. Like, you can see the new players help right here. There is a general here, and as I mentioned, you go here, hello, hi, rent Spark from me for your buildings. An ad. This is not a are you going out of business? This is not a constructive channel if we're looking at this, as opposed to the general and Discord. If we go into Upland's Discord in general, we'll see, or general in Discord, we will see that it's a much more active community with quicker communication, with a lot more people participating, with If people ask a question where there's quicker answers, and there's people who sit there for a while and actively engage in that communication. New announcements come out by the team of Upland. People can express their feelings on them and have communication constructively between players, and in many cases provide answers without people having to ask questions that are being answered by the team of Upland, which is kind of the point of peer-to-peer communities to begin with, which Discord is one of them, or is one of the platforms to help with a significant amount of peer-to-peer community building. But looking forward to seeing this emphasis hopefully clean up a couple things that we've had with Discord, where one of them was Upland again, de-emphasizing, moving some of the contests and flash challenges out of Discord, trying to move them other places to emphasize other forms of communication. And then B is more of a open format for everybody who wants to be a part. There has been some fracturing over time in Discord. We've seen some of that based on the difference between the team's moderation and what people expected as far as ability to participate. The moderation rules ultimately are there in the Discord space or any other space to help encourage the ability for anybody to be in that space, to not feel offended. That's probably some of the biggest things, that the moderation team should be there for, so that you don't have one party or the other feeling victimized or literally being victimized with people putting fraud or scams or spams into those areas. So as long as moderation can do that, I'm looking forward to this being an open space. More communication can happen. People can hopefully be more free and open with their communication. And again, this has been something that historically Upland's general is a more wide-running general. There's more conversations that happen outside of specific to Upland, more community-to-community members than I see in a lot of other communities. It's something that has been strong, and I look forward to it continue to being strong, continue to grow, and hopefully with Upland saying that they want to emphasize Discord in 2025, that's what they are trying to do here, is allow this to be a strong communication channel and allow it to be a good tool for onboarding people coming into the game, new players, growing players, midterm players, players who've been in the game for 5 years, to have equal access to information and to be a part of the conversation equally as well. When we look at channels like General, and fingers crossed, maybe the cafe has a resurgence, because the cafe versus General was this idea that cafe was supposed to be more of a players hangout, supposed to be more of an area where people could go and have those conversations that might be outside of a general, which is snap, 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 moving, changing all the time. More of a, as a direct announcement happens, you see that general take off. Maybe the cafe is someplace where people are more spending time to have specific conversations. If that comes back, then that's not the worst thing in the world. But for the year moving forward, if that's one of the decisions Upland's made, to go from the pushing the in-game communication, the in-game messaging, the in-game again announcements, and then say we can have it in multiple channels, and people can get it from Discord, or people can get it from Telegram, people can get it from other forms. We do have the Medium articles going out. If we can have that multi-format focus and not try to truncate one communication channel in order to prioritize another, I think it might be a better strategy, and I hope it is. We are also looking forward for Upland to kind of make some decisions here when it comes to how do they balance USD and UPX sales, how do they price USD sales when they have them, to more directly compete or more directly fit with the current and existing economy of the game of Upland, the economy that is in UPX, the economy that is in USD, the peer-to-peer economy, as well as tying more directly into the mintable cost versus what is available in bundles, and how we kind of balance those things. And then I did want to mention that this idea, when we talk about communication and we talk about the new city of Park City, this balance we're starting to have in communication, new players onboarding, is this question that keeps popping up is, how do I mint properties? Can I mint properties? What cities are open? can I only buy through bundle sales? Because it looks like that. If you're a new player and you come into the game and you heard that the newest city was Park City, and you go to Park City, Utah, and every single property in the city of Park City, Utah, has already been minted within a week. It feels like minting is not something that is available to you as a new player. But you go into the Get Upix store and you go into specials, and I get this out of my way, I get that out of my way, and I go into specials and I go and see that there are property that we go and see that we have. Often we have these property bundles that are in there for people to potentially be able to go and purchase. And go into extras here. We can go and see there's a property bundle here. And we do see that Upland continues to advertise and put those property bundles in there. And it looks like that's the one option that people have available to them. So that balance of, how do we continue to promote the fact that there are a few mintable cities? Would love to see Upland continue to put that out. And this idea that if we're continuing to put out cities that are minted out instantly, we have to give people, especially people who are new to the game, this pathway or this understanding of what the options are for minting in cities that are older cities that have not minted out fully. Reminder that there are many cities that are still mintable. They still have properties that aren't fully minted out, and you can mint them through UPX. You don't have to spend UPX to get properties in the game, like you see in these bundles. Bundles require spending USD. You can earn UPX. You can trade properties, sell properties in UPX, and then turn around and use some of that UPX for minting in a variety of cities throughout the game. So long as they still have mintable properties available. And the good news as well for people who are coming to the game new is there are, with the right information, there are markets where people can mint properties or buy properties on the secondary for about the same amount of money or same amount of UPX. There are UPX markets in some cities where it's very easy to get in to buy a property on secondary that's not significantly marked up, because again, these are cities where people bought properties, didn't get a chance to, or didn't build what they wanted, or didn't see the city do what they expected it to do in the course of 10 months. And now we see properties at about mint price on those floors. And we'd like to be able to see that as a strategy for new people coming in. And those properties are available to them to pick up if they want to. If they want to buy in USD, they can buy at a significant discount in most cities, buying the USD rather than going to bundles, which is about a 20% discount. You can buy at the floor in the majority of cities in the game of Upland at probably a 60 to 70% discount off what that mint price was in UPX. So it's something that I hope gets emphasized and built through and continued to be looked at in communications with customers. And I know Upland may not be most interested when they're trying to sell properties in USD to say, hey, there's a secondary market. There's a secondary market in USD. But that's part of the communication. I really hope channels that are open and continue to allow open communication, like Discord, are able to do. When people have those questions, they can get answers and get the answers quickly. And that's why I'm glad that Upland is re-emphasizing Discord. I look forward to, again, seeing that become another way where new players can come in, get answers. And that all comes down to the community. We have a great community. We have many players who will answer questions for new players coming in, and I'm looking forward to seeing that continue to happen. So for tonight, I want to say thank you so much for being here. Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. PT. We are back. Again, we've been out a little bit for the holidays, but we are back. Continue to look at the daily news as Upland does put it out. Again, you get this vacuum of news between that week of the holiday. But once we come back, once we really get back, we're looking forward to getting some new announcements as we get into the new season, getting new announcements about first quarter 2024, what to look out for. And of course, as we have daily challenges, as we have daily news, we're going to want to focus that and get into not only the content of those announcements, but also look at the context as well. So for tonight, thank you so much for being here. We will see you again on Monday, 7:30 p.m. PT. If you're on the Upland Cafe Discord, as always, feel free to unmute your mics. The floor is yours.